Hello and welcome to the Mindset and Mindfulness Podcast with me, your host, Sandy Powell.
Welcome to this episode. Our guest today is Dan Quinlan. He's a performance and mindset coach for busy and tired parents with young families. He specializes in helping parents set and achieve goals they actually care about without sacrificing family time. Welcome, Dan.
Hey, thank you. Great to be here.
See, here I am stumbling through it too. It's awesome.
Yeah, absolutely.
So welcome and thank you so much for taking time to speak with me today. Could you tell us a bit more about yourself?
Sure, will do. Thank you. So yeah, great to be here. Dan Quinlan, as you mentioned. I've been in the US now for 7 years, so originally from England. So got a family, wife, two young kids, 10-year-old daughter and 5-year-old son. And when we moved here, my daughter was 3. So crazy to see the kind of growth and journey and different accents she can easily pull off in conversations as well. So yeah, that's me, and been in human resources for the last, I think, 14, 15 years. And a couple of years ago, kind of really got into coaching using my skill sets from life and HR and some trainings that I'd had and some struggles that I'd gone through as well. And decided that, this is an area that I really want to explore some more. And I've been thoroughly enjoying it ever since.
Yes, yes. And I mean, there's so many parents and families, I'm sure, that need the help. So yes, I would love to hear more about it. What do you like to coach people on? Or is there yeah, could you just tell us a bit more about that?
Sure, absolutely. So I went through a couple of years back. I was like, what do I want to do with coaching? Because being so broad can be hard at the same time as well. And I started looking through, what were my struggles and struggles that I've talked to others about. And a big part of it, when you have a family, and for us being in a different country was hard as well because we've got no family close to us either. I started going through this idea and like, what helped me go from where I was struggling to now. And one thing I was really struggling is, well, at the time was I don't have time. That's the story I kept telling myself. I don't have time to do anything. I've got kids, work, coronavirus at the time as well. So the world was just crazy at that point. And then I got to a point where lots of things were going wrong for me personally, at work, kind of everywhere. And I remember hitting a point and being like, I've got to do something different now because I can't keep saying, well, that was bad luck and that kept going wrong. And whilst there's elements of truth to that, it was very much a case of you can't keep telling yourself that it's just bad luck and stuff. You've got to do more to help yourself get out of this. So as I went through all of that, and it can expand on that more as well, I then realized that, helping parents with young kids was important to me because I know those struggles going through it myself. And a big thing that helped me get through it, which took me quite a while to realize, was around setting goals. That when you have some clear, or even sometimes not clear, objectives and goals you want to work for, the journey that takes you on, it's really hard to kind of explain at the time because you just don't know. But when you have something to aim for and work towards, things get better and things start improving. You have some clarity on what you want to do. You find the time to do things you kept saying you didn't have time to do previously because you realize how important some of that is to you. So that's where I then started thinking about it. I was like, well, that's what I can help people with. And some of the people that I've been working with have been struggling with things like confidence or don't know how to get started on something. And it's about working with them to really strip that back on what is the story you're telling yourself and is it true? And then how do we work to either find time to do things? Because, I'm very clear with a lot of the stuff I do. If I say to you, hey, you need to go spend 5 hours doing this, you can't. You're just not really going to be able to do it. So that's where the without sacrificing family time came into it. Because if we can do some bite-sized stuff, you can have time for that. Maybe not every day, but you can find time to do those things. So that was where that bit came into it as well. And if I'm telling you to do things that take too long and you're going to then miss out with your kids, you're not going to want to do that. But if it's the smaller stuff that builds over time, that's where the real kind of power comes into it. And you can start seeing that shift in your patterns, mental, physical, whatever it may be as well. And so that for me was the real game changer of, okay, this is what I can do to help people. And I absolutely love doing it. I do it all the time if I could. but it's just something I really enjoy doing. And when I look back through my journey as well, you know, 2 years ago, 3 years ago, whatever, if you'd said to me, "Hey Dan, this is what you're going to do, and you're going to be on podcasts talking about it," would never have ever have pictured that for multiple reasons because I just didn't see it at the time. And that's what I mean by the journey of where you're going. You just don't know, but you embrace it because it's awesome.
Ah, yes, I love this. I love this so much. Ah. And yes, the journey. I was really just talking about that with a client of mine too. That it's fuzzy, you know, like yes, you have like some kind of picture or vision or something, you know, and especially in the beginning, it is like really fuzzy, right? Like you're just kind of like, I think this is, I'm gonna go this way because of this. And
Mm.
then the more you go towards it, the more clearer it gets. And the, you know, the color gets better and you know,
Yeah.
it becomes more into focus and stuff. And so many times you don't know, like, you know, like what that next step might unlock, right? Like you're like, what is my next best step? And you're like going for it, right? But then it's like, ooh, like because I used to, right? I used to get overwhelmed too. Like I used to be like, oh my God, like I have to talk in front of people. Like I don't know what to talk about and stuff. So I'm like, okay, step back. Okay, what can you do right now? What is your next step, best step? And then I'm like, oh, I'm going and I'm going this and there. And before long, by the time I get to, oh, I have to present, you know, soon, like then I actually have a whole bunch of stuff because I already did all the previous steps, you know? And so,
Yeah.
yeah. And I find it so interesting. Yeah. Like I said, you don't know what one of these steps might lead to. You don't know what this person stepping into your life might, you know, lead to. You know, it might
Mm.
make another connection or another idea and stuff. I just find it, yeah, so interesting and so adventurous. Like if you kind of go with the flow and just kind of be open for it, it can
Yeah.
be quite the adventure and quite fun to just kind of
Yeah.
write and enjoy it, you know?
It really is. And that's where the overwhelm can be really challenging, especially when you're new, because you don't know if it's going to work. You know,
Yes.
I had these ideas of this is what I need to do to get out of the struggle that I was going through, but there was no like, this will 100% work and it's going to be great. You just don't know. So I decided at that point, it's like, I don't want things to go back to how they were so I can enjoy this. And if something doesn't work, that's not a stick to beat myself up with. That's okay, did it not work because you didn't do something you should have done, or is it just something that's not going to work for you? And then deal with that piece from there as well. I mean, I've done lots of things to try and get out of it that didn't work for me, but I found a way to change it. And then it did work, or I just parked it because it's just something that just didn't work for me. So, and that was where embracing that change and that journey became so important because it's easy to lose track. I mean, there's distractions in life, kids get sick, you get sick, work's busy, whatever it may be. And you have to accept that because you can't necessarily change that. So then it's how do you get back onto it? And that was something that was a great learning for me was when I've looked back, one thing I kept saying was, I can't seem to get any momentum. Every time I get momentum, something happens and I'm straight back to in the struggle again. And I started realizing over time that actually I'm putting too much emphasis on momentum because I'm basically up and down the whole time. I get my momentum and I'm up, and then something goes wrong and I'm straight back down. And it was literally like a roller coaster, up and down. So it's like, well, momentum's gonna get stopped sometimes or halted. But what you can do is try and build it back up again. Instead of being like, oh, it's gone wrong. I can't believe that happened again. It's how do you build that back up? Like working out. I've set goals in the past of working out and have struggled with them. I'll do great for a couple of weeks and then work will be busy and I don't do it for a week. And then I'm like, oh, I haven't done it. And then suddenly it's 2 weeks. Whereas now it's if I go through a bit of a funk, it's like, okay, you haven't done it for 3 days or whatever, a week. You can start again now and then rebuild it back up. So that's something that I've learned a lot over the last couple of years, and it's been helpful with others that I've worked with as well. Of it's not perfect. We're not aiming for perfect. If you set a goal to work out 5 days a week, and you're going to work out 5 days every week, that's not always going to happen. So how do you get it back if something goes wrong? And that's been a huge, huge, I think, game changer for me personally and others as well. Of yeah, it's not about perfection because that's just not going to happen. But let's build, rebuild, tweak, keep going, enjoy it, all of those things, because that's That's where the fun comes into it. And that's where the progress comes into it as well.
Yes. Ah, so many things. I made so many notes. I'm like, oh my God. So yes, progress, not perfection. That's one of my favorite quotes. And that's something that I remind myself of all the time too. Yeah, it's not about, making it all pretty. And, like sometimes we get kind of lost in the little details, right? And yeah,
Yeah.
I have to pull myself back. I'm like, okay, hold on. Like you're spending way too much time, Like
Yep.
we don't even know if this works yet. Let's just, what is the least viable product so I can
Yep.
set it, test it out and see if it's even working before I sink like a whole lot of time to make it pretty, right?
Yep.
And then I come back and I modified it, made it a little prettier and this and this and that. But first, let's just kind of get, like some kind of
Yep.
plan together and just kind of get it out there and see if it's even, something that's, viable.
Yep.
Right. So basically fail fast. Like I used to, be so scared and I don't know all the answers yet. And I don't know if I should start this, or like I said, get so hung up in the pretty details. I need to make this first and this and blah. And then I would get stuck and I would get busy again. And then
Mm.
like you said.
Yep.
So yes, those bite-sized chunks, that's something that has kept me going as well. Like I always, like I said, I do try to break up big tasks into smaller tasks
Yep.
so I don't get overwhelmed. But then also on those days where I can't do so much, or my daughter is clingy or sick or whatever, I might just do like, okay, instead of my, I don't know, 3 things or whatever I wanted to do, what is
Yep.
one thing I can maybe spend 15 minutes on and do one thing, one question, one email, whatever, and just do the one thing. And I feel so much better. I feel accomplished. And I walked a little tiny step towards that goal. And
Yep.
so I somewhat keep the momentum going, even if it's not a big chunk, right? And
Yep.
just kind of, keep the fire burning. Right?
Absolutely. And I tried a new technique earlier this year. So it's a new one. I read about it and like I like that. The ABC goal, basically, of what is my A goal, what is my B goal, and what is my C goal, with A being the absolute perfect, this is what I want to do, and C being that this is the bare minimum I can do. It's like I've applied it to one of my health goals of, I want to lose 3 pounds in weight and just generally get healthier. And I do that, my perfect workout is, let's say, 45 minutes a day of cardio and weights. I can't always get 45 minutes with work and kids and family time, that sort of thing. So my B goal is 25 minutes and my C is 5 minutes. And when I look at that on days where I'm just not feeling it or I'm busy, and I ask myself, can I honestly tell myself I don't have 5 minutes to go and work out? And the answer is no. And so I will go and do it. And the fun part of that is kind of a trick is I've never done a 5 minute workout before because when I get in there and start, the minimum I've looked at my notes is 17 minutes. So that has been a real thing for me as well because it's like, are you really going to go in there for 5 minutes and do it once you get started? No, it's that thing, isn't it, of the hardest thing of working out at the gym isn't the workout, it's the setting foot in the gym. Because once you're in there, you're like, okay, well, I'm here, I might as well do something. And that for me has worked really, really well. So now I'm not discouraged if I don't do a 45-minute workout. I'm happy that I got something in. And that for me has totally changed it because I was totally struggling last year and years before of, oh, I didn't get 45 minutes. I don't have 45 minutes. There's no point. I'll wait until I have 45 minutes, which never happened. So let's vary that up a little bit and kind of turn it into a bit of a game. I'm big on gamifying things. That's a personal thing that works for me. I know it doesn't work for everybody, but works for me. So turn it into a game of, you've got to start something. Well, it's probably going to suck to start with. Okay, let's keep going. And then you can look back on it in 6 months and laugh at how bad it was, but also be happy with how much better you've got because you started 6 or whatever months ago. So, and that works well for me. So it don't work for everybody, but for me, that's been a real thing of, okay, if you're worried it's going to suck, embrace that and then go through it and look back and see. And it probably doesn't suck as much as you think it does either.
True. Yes, but I love that. I really do love that because it really takes a whole lot of, like you said, that weight off of your shoulders, right? Like you're like,
Yeah.
punishing yourself. Oh, I didn't get the 45 minutes and stuff. And then you're like, you're getting in that downward spiral right there. Like,
Yep.
oh, and I didn't do it. And do I have it tomorrow? And maybe I don't. And maybe the kids are sick and this and that, right? But then if you loosen the rein and give yourself a bit of grace and be like, hey, there are days, not every day is equal. We don't have the same energy. We don't have the same time, right? And things do come up always, right? Especially
Yep.
with kids. I feel like it's like a
Yep.
constant juggling, right? And
Yep.
have a little map or a plan, a schedule, but things almost never go that way, right? Before you know it, I don't know. I have to go to the bathroom now. Like I've asked you 5 times.
Yep.
I have to go now. And that's, oh yeah, I have to do it number 2, right? I'm like,
Yep.
like if you just have a little bit more grace and I love that. Like those 3 goals where like, okay, this is what I would love it to be. This is, I can, skip by. And then this, the bare minimum to just kind of, keep the habit going, get myself in the gym and just kind of tell myself, hey, tomorrow I'll be better. I mean, I love that. I really do. Such a good tip.
It is, and that's where you got to look at what's the resistance you're seeing and feeling. And I saw something or listened to something on a podcast the other day that said the biggest trick resistance pulls on you, it's not that you can't do it, it's that you can do it tomorrow. And I listened to that, I was like, that is such a good point because it never really hits you in the face of you can't do that. It's always that subtle little, why are you doing that today? Don't do it today, do it tomorrow. Because, we all go through that, don't we, of putting something off to tomorrow, and then tomorrow is the next day, and then the next day, and then the next day, and suddenly it's like, wow, that was 10 days ago. Wow, I haven't done anything. That type of thing. I was like, that is such a great point. So whenever I hear myself say that to myself of you can do it tomorrow, it's then, oh, hang on a minute. Can you genuinely do that tomorrow? Or is this something that you're just putting off and you can just do it now? And that works. That works really well because it forces you to think through it.
Oh yeah. No, usually I've already switched it kind of the other way. Like, if I hear myself like, oh, do I really want to do it tomorrow? Like, I already have my to-do list, I already have things for tomorrow. Can I do it now? Like, and then it's out of my way. Like, I am more of like, oh, let's just get it out. Let's get it out of the way. I know I have to get off the couch or I have to shift some things around or whatever, but I'd rather get it just right here. It's fresh. It's out of the way instead of me having to rethink, and like push it to push it to the next day, always like a cliffhanger, like, oh, I have to think of that and that and that. And then, like you said, before you know it, it's like a month later and you're like, oh, damn, I never I wish I would have done it back then when it was fresh in my mind. Now I need to spend twice the amount of time just to kind of get myself back into it. So yes, I've learned that too, and just kind of really ask the question too, like, okay, can I just do it today? Because I really would like it not to be another item on my list tomorrow, like really.
Yeah, absolutely. And then you hit a point of if you keep putting, and there are some things, of course, it's like it actually makes more sense for me to do tomorrow. So it's not a definite no, you can't push anything to tomorrow. But if it gets too long, it's then, well, is that really important to me? Because if I'm telling myself that it is, but I'm not doing anything, my actions aren't meeting what I'm saying. So what's the disconnect there? And that's something that I've loved working through with people as well. And you can see their energy for the first couple of weeks or a month or whatever it may be, and then it starts settling in a little bit more of those doubts and that resistance and the kind of imposter syndrome of, well, I can't do that and things like that. And then it's working through that with them as well. And that whole thing of it, if you want to write a book, it sounds terrifying, but could you write for 15 minutes a day? Yeah. Well, then over a year, you've got so much time, whatever that adds up to, that you've done that job. So it's, what's your big goal? Let's break it down and then let's work step by step of how do you achieve that? How do you overcome resistance? What are the obstacles? What can stop you? What does success look like? All those types of things, and getting some real kind of clarity and confidence as well, because that's a big thing that it stems to as well. It's that confidence of, can I do it, and meeting yourself where you're at. And that was a big learning for me as well of, I used to be back in school, I had some school records for some of the athletics like high jump and long distance running. Now I suck. I am really bad at long distance running. I haven't done it for years. And I was like, well, how do I do a 5K? And then my training used to be, I'm going to run a 5K. And I'd try and I'd hit a mile, maybe two, and I'd be exhausted. I didn't have a clue what I was doing. Then I was all like, oh, I used to be able to do that so easily. Why can't I anymore? And it's like, well, you haven't done it for 15, 20 years, whatever the case may be. That's one reason. And instead of looking at your training of a 5K to do a 5K, it's how do you break it down into building up to do that 5K? And then I started doing some training on it and it's been going well. I was like, okay, I can do that piece, knowing that it's going to lead to that bigger goal as well. So that's been really, it's been a huge change because you get discouraged if you set a big goal and try and attack it straight away and it's too big and then you don't know how to get there. It ends up being like, oh man, what am I doing? I can't do this. But you go like that step by step, that's all building into that of, you couldn't jump to the top of a ladder in one jump, but you can go step by step and it will get you to the top of that ladder. So working through that and seeing what's happening has been, again, a big change from a confidence perspective, but fun as well, because you can see the progress and see the success and see what's next and that sort of thing.
Yeah. Yes. And the smaller steps or the
Mhm.
slower is faster is something I've learned too. Yeah.
Yeah.
Slower is so really taking the time and really, why do you want this? Like really list it out, why are you here? You're struggling, you're here for a reason. You want to change this right now, right? But then also, how do you get from here to here and really mapping it out a bit, at least, right?
Yeah.
And like you said, in smaller steps, so you can actually, have chunk it down so that it's more manageable. Definitely. Yes.
Yeah.
Definitely. Yeah. Keep the momentum and don't let fear stop you. That's
Yep.
I used to kind of be on the sidelines more too, but yeah, I feel like if you don't get out there, if you don't try, like you will definitely lose. Yeah, right? Like if you're always scared to kind of fail at something or lose something or whatever, like you will lose because you're not even starting, you're not even putting yourself out there. But if you get started and you try for something, you will at least have the experience, right? Like it may fail, but you might also win, right? You might also gain the strength, the confidence, you make a new friend, you learn something new, whatever it is, right? So you gotta get yourself out there and just kind of go for it, whatever it is. And it might be the most ridiculous goal for somebody else too, right? But if
Yep.
it's in your heart and you're like, I do want to run that marathon or whatever, even though I haven't done any exercise in years, well, then you go for it, right? Because it's something that sparks joy in you. That's why it comes up for you and not for, I don't know, your wife, your friend, your coworker, right? So yes, I feel like it's
Absolutely.
very important to just kind of go for what sparks joy in your heart. Like really follow those little nudges, those little things, and really somewhat disregard of what others say or does it make logical sense? Like
Mhm.
it doesn't need to always make logical sense as long as it kind of,
Yep.
gives you some happiness back.
Absolutely. And that's been the big part of where I've been pushing on the goal and the first step. I do a 4-step challenge that I've got had people sign up for as well. It's the first step is figuring out what you care about and what's important to you. Because as parents, you're in the same boat as me here. You don't have a ton of time. The worst thing you want to do is spend that time on something you don't care about. You're not going to succeed in it. You're not going to want to do it, and you either don't do it or you don't do it very well because you just don't want to do it. So that step one for me has always been like, how do you figure out what is it you want to do, and then go through some steps that I put in place to help you figure that out. Then it's about, okay, now I know is important to me at a more deep level than just my family, for example. It then becomes, okay, what are you going to turn that into? That step two piece, because now you've got your foundations of this is what I want to work on. So, and that's been awesome to work with people on that, because that fear is real of, I can't say that, for either fear of judgment of people judging you for it, or fear of I can't succeed in that, or whatever the case may be. And it's okay, well, how do you move past that? And one of my big fears was posting on social media, that people are going to see what I'm talking about, and I've never talked about that stuff before, or my work, my employer will not like that I've posted something that isn't to do with work. But the fact of the matter is that fear was holding me back. And I'm pretty confident in saying that I don't think 10 minutes after I've posted, many people would have cared what I put on there. And that's actually a good thing, not a bad thing. So just do it and see where it takes you. I mean, I started about a year and a half ago with a newsletter built around helping people find their purpose. And after 6 months of doing it, I was like, that I want to do more than just that. Was struggling to define, what is that? So I then changed course a little bit, and that's where I now focus for a year, maybe a little bit less, on helping parents with goals and achieving their goals and spending time doing things they care about. Because I feel like if you can spend time doing things you care about, it increases your confidence, increases your self-belief, your happiness, then that has a knock-on effect on your kids, which are the most important things to you as well. So whilst I'm not a parent coach, if you would have had a parent your kids and discipline them, what I do has a lot to do with kids because I'm helping you become the best person you can be, which is special to you. I can't tell you that, hey, you need to go run a marathon, for example, because you may not care about that. So let's figure out what you want to do. And then the knock-on effects for your relationships with yourself, your spouse, your kids, friends is huge. And I was like, that's where my speciality, if you will, is there. So that's where my focus became. But I would never have got to that had I not started off with that coaching purpose newsletter because it led to that, which I would not have seen at the time. And that's the real fun part of the whole thing, saying about get on the road, but you don't know where it's going to take you. But what you've got to be wary of is those kind of cul-de-sacs that just take you to a dead end. And then you're like, okay, I turned off too soon. Get back on the road, keep going. And then there's another one of, okay, is that something I want to explore? And if the answer is yes, do it and see where it goes. And I definitely feel a lot more that this is me. Whereas the first one I was doing was fun, but I couldn't quite figure it out. And I knew I couldn't figure it out, but I didn't want to wait until I'd figured it out because I knew that starting was going to be the only way I could figure it out through learning, through mistakes I was making, content I was writing, and stuff. And if 6 months later you're like, I'm bored of this, that's not necessarily the path you're supposed to be on. But for me, it wasn't that I was bored of it; it was that it just wasn't quite hitting me and the impact I felt. And so I tried a few little bits and was like, yes, that's where I'm at now. But I love looking back through some of the stuff I've done and reading it and smiling about, man, that wasn't a good one, or that was a bit of fun, or whatever the case may be, because it all led to the path now.
Oh, I love that. Yes, I can so relate. Like all of it. Like the social media fear. Like,
Yeah,
oh my God, everybody is watching. And then like nobody is watching. I mean, like a few, but honestly, getting to the point of like, it does not matter who is watching and who cares and who says anything. Like it's really more in your head too. Like, like this, there's like so much fear of like, oh my God, what will people think? But honestly, I have not heard one negative comment. Like
yeah,
not one. And I mean, I've been doing it also for a couple of years now, right? And posting more and more. And most of the feedback is like, oh my gosh, I love this. Tell me more about it, right? Like, how did you get here? And oh my God, this is so cool. Whereas, yeah, before I was like, oh my God, what are people thinking? What are people and stuff? And like I said, it's been really positive. Like I mean, yes, I guess maybe I'm not big enough that, the internet trolls have come out yet and will, do the bad things, whatever, say some negative comments. I've heard on one of the podcasts. That's one of the things that you've made it, right? Once those the negative comments start coming because you've reached some people that might not be in your circle and things like that.
yeah.
But anyways, it's really just cool to try it out and really just push those fears away. Like really go for it. Just
Oh,
go and try it out. And like you said, you figure things out. And it's the same with me. Like I started something, I just kind of went with it. And yes, it was shaky and I didn't know everything. And I just kind of stumbled through it. And I got better and I got better and I did more and here and there. And by now, like I really feel like, yeah, I'm getting more and more. And it's like hot or cold or something, right? Like, oh,
yeah,
I'm getting warmer, warmer, hot,
yeah.
almost there. And I'm just, yeah, I love it. I love it. And you won't get there if you don't start. If I would have never put it out there, if I would have never started, I could have not redefined it and figured it out, right? Where I want to go. Where is my hot, my cold?
Yeah.
So it's just, oh,
Yeah.
yes, that's
And
why I'm like, I'm connecting. I'm so connecting with that.
absolutely. And it's about being yourself with it as well. And I know that what I do and talk about and my style isn't going to fit everybody, but I'm absolutely fine with that because it just means I'm not the right person for you. And if I'm not the right person for you, that is fine. You can't be the right person for everybody, but you are the right person for people. as well. So when I write how I feel it would be helpful, or when I'm telling stories that they're my stories. And if some people will be like, that's ridiculous, I don't care, that's fine. I'd rather people realize that quickly when working with me or reading my stuff or listening to me and be like, nope, not interested in what he has to say, than spending months and be like, yeah, this isn't really whatever type thing. So for me, it's like be yourself straight away. And if that resonates with people, awesome. If it doesn't, that's okay. At least you're being true to what you want to write and talk about and help and that sort of stuff. And that was a lesson that I learned as well. Don't try and please everybody because you're not really going to help anybody by doing that. But at the same time, don't be controversial to be controversial, but have your viewpoints and stories and tips and tools, that sort of thing. And they can help people.
Yeah. Yes. You got to go out there and find the
Yeah.
people that are clicking with you. Exactly.
Mhm.
It's
Yeah.
not everyone. No, of course. But there's millions, billions of people out there who will connect with
Yep.
the right people. And those are you gonna find. And those are also the people I get up for, yeah. The moments where I'm like, oh, I shouldn't, or oh, I'm fearful, I'm whatever. I'm like, hey, if I'm not showing up, then I can't help. Okay. Like there's somebody out there that needs me to show up. There's somebody out there that needs me to post this podcast. There's somebody out there that needs to hear this message that I have today.
Yep.
And so yes, that's usually what gets me through if I ever do struggle or I'm like, I'm caught up in my own stuff. I'm like, oh, there's my daughter and there are things and whatever. I'm like, okay, you know what? Just show up.
Yep.
It's important. It's important.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah.
You might save a life.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Oh, good stuff. Good stuff. My goodness. Do you want to complete the list of like what are the 4 things that you wanted to that you go through on finding your next thing? I think you said
Sure.
what's important and then what do you want to do with it?
Sure. Absolutely. Yeah. So this was through kind of trial and error on my part going back, and everything I do is like if I look at who I was 3, 4, 5 years ago,
Right.
and it took me 2 or 3 years to get through all of that. I could have been there so much quicker if I had someone doing the sort of stuff I'm doing and help from others, of course, as well. And I was like, man, why did I struggle for 3 years when it could really have been like 3 months or something like that? But I just didn't know at the time. So that was where I pulled together this goal getter challenge, I call it. It's on my website. And I have a free um, part of that as well, which looks through step 1 as well. So for me, it was step 1 is, identifying what it is that you actually care about, because everything else, nothing else really matters until you've done that piece. So that's your foundations. Step 2 is how to turn that into something tangible that you then want to work with. Step 3 is around, overcoming obstacles and resistance there, because you are going to face them. And it's trying to identify them where you know they are and coming up with some techniques and tools to help you for some unexpected things. And then step 4 was around the consistency and the time management piece of it as well, because same with anything in life, once you figure something out, you're super excited for it, you're motivated. Motivation's great, but it's not the be all and end all, because it goes. And then when your motivation goes, what happens then? So this is where it's a case of, hey, you've identified that this is important to you. You've now put some plans in place or steps in place and goals of, this is my big goal, and broken it down into smaller goals. We've looked through what can stop you. Now you're at a point where you've got to keep going with it, especially if it's a longer term goal as well. So how do you work through that and look at your time management, your systems, that sort of thing? Because you're going to have days with motivation where you're just not feeling it. And that's okay, but you can't have weeks or months where you're not feeling it, because then you are going to derail and lose progress. So they're the 4 steps that I kind of take people through in that training. And I've had a lot of people sign up for it, which is great, because I put it together and was like, I don't know, I think this is super helpful, but of course I think it's my thing I've put together. But then when you put it out there and then you have people signing up for it and going through it and stuff, you're like, okay, cool. It wasn't just me thinking that this is super helpful. I mean, it is actually helping people. So yeah, and that was a case as well of getting through the nerves of filming myself, because that was a totally different thing from writing. Because when you're writing, you can delete a few bits and change the wordings. You can put anything you want in writing because no one sees you. But I was very adamant with this challenge that I'm going to record myself talking through some steps and not just do it through, a voice, but do it through my face alongside it as well. And that was a totally different thing for me as well, and did a lot better than I thought I would have done on that as well. So I was really pleased at the end of it of how helpful it's been for people, the fact it's out there, and the fact I've made myself do it, because I could have just done it on voice as well. But I really wanted to do more of a connection. And I think the best way you do that is by someone seeing you, not just hearing a voice. So yeah, I'm super pleased with that one. And then I kind of broke it down a little bit more of, I want to help as many parents as I can. And there's obviously different points to that, like one-on-one help. You can't do one-on-one with absolutely everybody. It's just not possible. So that's why I have multiple different areas. I have my weekly newsletter I send out, which just has tips, stories, tools, that sort of thing. And then I broke down that challenge I just mentioned into a 5-day email challenge, which is purely to help you figure out what it is you care about as well. Which to me, I thought that's a logical first step for someone as well, especially if they're not sure on, how do I do it? Where do I go? Okay, let's really focus on step one first. And you can try that. And if you think it's useful and helpful you, there's some other steps for you. If you don't, that's okay. But at least you haven't spent a lot of time and money, and it's just not what you want to do. So yeah, loving where it's at, and the feedback's been really good as well, which is so nice to hear. And even if you get feedback of no, that didn't work for me, it's okay. Why didn't it work?
Right.
What is that? Is it something I could have done differently or better to resonate with you, or is it just not something you want to do? And there's no wrong answer to that.
Yes, yes, I love that. See, that's part of my thing this year too. I have my goal of like, yes, holding my workshop, my reconnect with yourself and create a self-care routine workshop.
Yep.
That's part of my challenge, basically. And yeah, like I did a workshop last year, right? And I was constantly telling myself, oh, and I'm gonna, do it again and this and that. And then the year was over and I filled it with a whole lot of things, but not another workshop. Putting myself out there was also something, not necessarily neat.
Totally get it.
This year, I was just like, oh my God, like I can't believe that it's been a year and I haven't done it, even though it was like on my goals and of like, what do I need to do in order to, put myself out there more and get people, to know me more, right?
Yep.
Like that's all what it's all about. Like people have dozens of people on Facebook and the internet, right? Talking to
Yep.
them about, oh, and do this and work with me and blah, blah, blah. So yes, how can they really get a feel for you? How can they, right? Get excited. Yep. So you need to put something else out there. And yes, of course they have a podcast and maybe the YouTube thing and stuff. But I really also found in my work that there's a lot of clients that are really struggling with this whole thing of self-care. And where do I start it? And like, how do I even find time? And what would I even be doing if I had a bit of time? What does self-care even look like? Like, am I really going to do this or that and nails or whatever? Or do I just like sit there? Is meditation really my thing and stuff like that? So I really came from a place of like, okay, I see so many people struggling. I'm going to put something together. And yes, the feedback had also been so much better than I even imagined. I was like, oh, I mean, I'm really just doing a self-care routine. It's almost like, is this really something? And then people are like, oh my God, this is so good. I'm like, oh, good. Because I thought so. Of course, that's why I put it together. But then you're like, at the end, you're like, is this really, like, I feel like it's so simple and stuff, but yes.
But simple is so important. And that's something I've tried to look through as well. If I can, one of my key things I look at before I do anything is, can I make this easy for someone? And if the answer is yes, then I will make it as easy. Even simple things like when someone goes to my website, is it easy for them to sign up or take something they want? And everything like that, it's because if I say to you, hey, you need to fill out 7 bits of information, then do this, especially when people don't really know who you are at this stage as well, no one's going to do that. So how can I make it? What is the bare minimum I need? Well, I need their first name and I need their email address. That's all I need. So that's all I'm going to ask. Simple things like that of how do I make your life as simple as possible? And if I'm sending you, like I have a momentum builder for the mornings, which I've added in now as a free thing when you sign up for my newsletter. How can I make that straightforward? Well, if I give people a list of 100 questions to ask yourself when you wake up in the morning, no, that's overwhelming. You don't know where to start. Yet you're then going to not do it. But if I looked at what are the 5 most powerful questions, for example, I can ask myself in the morning or at some point in the day, whatever works for the person, yeah, I can do that, and people can do that. So everything for me is how can I make it super simple, and how can I take the least amount of time for you, but still get you the results without you wanting to stop because you just can't do it. And that's been a real good guide for me through all of this as well. And also, I feel like a hypocrite if I'm saying to do this without sacrificing family time, but then you need to spend 3 hours with me every evening. It's just not, it doesn't add up. So that's been hugely important. Anything I do is, am I hitting what I said I'm going to do? And if the answer is no, then I won't do it. Or I'll refine it so that I can do it. So that's been really helpful because you can get when you're excited about something as well, you can go down so many different avenues and do so many different things. And I did that recently as well. And then I looked at my kind of what is my overall aim here. And then it was like, well, you've got 10 different things you're putting into this aim now. You can't be giving that 100% focus because you're everywhere. So I stripped it down and was like, okay, there's now 3 things, for example. And that's been okay, my focus now is here. I'm not as overwhelmed or bouncing everywhere. And that's kind of like the next step with that systems piece as well of once you've established what you want to do and how to get there, how do you keep yourself focused? Or if you are going to drift off, it's in a good way as well. Because drifting can lead to the best things as well. It really can. So you don't want to just be like rigid of no, this is all I'm doing. But you've also got to be able to figure out how you're drifting in a good way versus drifting in a like when you go on Facebook and you just want to spend 5 minutes reading something, and then suddenly an hour later you've looked at 100 posts. You're like, how did I do that? I wasn't supposed to do that. That type of thing of how do you pull yourself back to a bit more focus with it?
Yes. Yes. Give your time, give yourself some time to listen inward because that's
Mhm.
where the inspiration hits, right?
Yep.
You also need to kind of, yes, get those creative juices flowing.
Yeah, and you hit it perfectly earlier when you said about slowing down.
Mhm.
Sometimes your best results come from slowing down and going for a walk without headphones in. And that's something that I've started doing recently. The first time I was like, this is going to be boring. If I'm going for a walk, I want to be listening to something, whether it's music or a podcast. And I did a few where I was like, don't take the headphones with you or earphones, just go for a walk and see where your mind takes you. And it took me a little bit of time to get used to that, but I kind of do half and half now, and I really enjoy it because I get different perspectives on things. But the thought of it sounded really boring.
Yes, that's also our productive piece, right? Like also
Yep.
one like but at work and then I'm not doing something and stuff, right?
Yep.
Like I can combine it. I'm a big a believer into habit bundling, right? Like there's
Mm.
something I have to do and there's something I really would like to do. Let's try and see if I can put it a little bow on it, that
Yep.
I can get a bit more motivation to do the things that I should be doing.
Yep.
Combine them with something that I really love doing or want to be doing. And so, yes, I do spend my time, yes, sometimes trying to find a match of like, yeah, listening to something while I'm walking or cleaning or folding the laundry, something. I'm trying to match it with something else.
Hmm.
Yes, especially, yeah, managing my time because there's not all that much
Yep.
with my daughter and, being a coach and doing my business and working from home, my
Yep.
husband traveling and stuff. So, yes, I've gotten really good at maximizing my time.
Hmm.
Not to say
Yep.
that I'm not also struggling at times, right? Because there
Yep.
are always curveballs and sicknesses and things
Yep.
that are just coming. But yeah, like I said, then I try to just kind of, what can I do to move the needle just a teeny tiny bit?
Yep.
Can I do something for myself? Can I figure out something for work? What can I do? And just like you said, the 5 minutes, it really, and it shifts everything for me too. Like just because then you don't feel like a failure. You haven't done anything, and
Yep.
really you figured out the one thing, and that's okay. And and like your daughter
Mhm.
needed you, or you really needed to jump on this instead, and that's fine. But you also still stick with the plan, even if it was just the 5 minutes.
Yep.
And I think that's like you said, the trusting yourself that you still can manage it, that you can keep your word to yourself. I think that's an important piece too. Like instead of just kind of making the New Year resolution and like, I'm going to do all these things. And by,
Yeah.
1 week in, or latest by the end of January, like, yeah, I mean, I signed up for the gym, but whatever, or like whatever it was that you signed up to be doing better this year, you're like, whatever, right?
Yeah, I'm with you completely. And that's that again, that step one is figuring out what you want to do. And that's what and this is just my view, that's why so many New Year's resolutions don't work. It's because you've set something because you felt you had to, and you've picked something that you feel you have to, or it's semi-important to you. You haven't figured out what's important to you. And then because it's not important to you and you don't have the systems in place, that's when things, I think I saw January 19th, I think it was National Quitters Day or something. That's when most New Year's resolutions have stopped. And that's after 19 days. So, but that for me was a good data point of, okay, well, that's where people seem to be struggling. How can you help with that? And I've got a program I'm working on at the moment, which is more of a one-to-one one for Success in 30 of how do we work for 30 days to help set you up so that you're more prepared after that, because generally the motivation lasts 2 to 4 weeks. So it's like, okay,
right. That's what the motivation trickles
Yep.
off then, right? They have that initial motivation and they're just like, whatever, it's okay.
Yep.
And how many posts have I seen with the same resolutions from last year, crossing out the year and just kind of, let's try again this year.
Yep. Absolutely. So yeah, look, there's so much fun stuff that you can do to help people. It's an awesome feeling. It really is.
Yes. Yes. Really shifting somebody towards their dreams, something that fills them up, right?
Yep.
It's like, yes, there's resistance and, like, yes, you got to do something and it might be uncomfortable because, you haven't maybe done it in a while or never, but there's always a reason why this is something that is in your head anyways to begin with, right?
Absolutely. And I mean, I remember going through it. The first big resistance I had was I can't take time to work on myself because then I'm not focusing on my kids and that makes me a bad dad. And that stuck with me for a little bit of time of, your kids are the most important thing in your life. So all of your time should be on the kids. And then I started thinking through it. I was like, well, if I look at it that way, if I'm not doing well mentally, how much real good time am I spending with the kids? Not physical time, but proper time. And the answer was not as much as I want to be. So then I was like, okay, I've got to change that mindset of I'm a bad person if I focus on myself because I should be focusing on others. And the reality was that once you fix yourself or on a path to fix yourself, whichever way you want to look at it, you become a better parent because you're more focused and happier and confident. And you're spending that quality time with them then, whether it's the same amount of hours, but you're actually mentally there as opposed to switched off somewhere else. And then you feel like a better parent. And then if you feel like a better parent, then you are a better parent, that type of thing. So that was oh, wow, the thing I was most scared of was actually what I was doing. I just didn't realize it at the time. So that was an awesome feeling as well to help kind of shift through that because I don't know where I'd be if I hadn't broken through that. I really don't. It wouldn't have been anywhere near as confident and happy and stuff as I am now with it. So that was a big breakthrough. But when I was like, I don't know what's true. I don't know if I'm right with that view or if I'm wrong with that view, but that's how I'm feeling and I need to figure that out. And then eventually could see that I was being better with the kids and more engaged with them and stuff. And I was like, okay, well, maybe that wasn't true, what you were telling yourself. And now I can categorically say that I 100% believe that it wasn't true. But it was a bit of a journey to get there.
Oh, yes. And I still have moments sometimes where I'm struggling, right? Like my daughter is like literally on my arm. Oh, do you really have to go to work? And do you really, and stuff, right? And I'm like, yeah, but I really, really love my work. I really want to do this too. Do you really have to go on this trip? Oh my gosh, I'm going to miss you so much. And I'm like, you know what? I am going to miss you too. I love being your parent, but you know what? I also love being me and I have to explore that. I have to give that some air. Like there was a point in my life where I was, yes, also focused, right? I stopped working when she was about 6 months old just because it was so much like trying to handle it.
Mm.
And it was, yeah, during COVID times, and like we, like all our family, like my family is in Germany, so they couldn't come and support. And so his family, they're like dentists, doctors, nurses. So they
That,
couldn't, like every day they were
yeah,
like, we're in quarantine and stuff. So we're like, yeah, no, thanks. So it was
yeah,
just us, right? And I mean, it was such a big shift, of course, going from, being a married couple for, I don't know, 8 years, and then having our child together, but then, during COVID and both working and this little munchkin. And so I decided to then, stay home and take care of my daughter, because I've really waited for a long, long time to become a mom. But then I realized after some time that I am really struggling, right? Like I was
mm,
really, really struggling. Like, how am I not enjoying this more? Why am I getting depressed, spending all this time with my daughter, And I realized that
oh,
while I love being a mom, it is not the end and all. Like I need more. I am, like
yeah,
I feel like I can contribute to the world more. I can do more. And I knew that I didn't want to go back to my 9 to 5. I couldn't imagine working for somebody else again and things like that. And so
mm,
that's how my whole journey kind of started too, like exploring mindfulness and yoga and all these kind of things, just to kind of get myself to a better place. As I said, I was kind of going down a bit of a rabbit hole. And then, yeah, like you said, I feel like it is important to show up for ourselves. It is important to figure out what makes us happy, how to fill up our cup, how to keep us healthy mentally, physically, because we are also the example. I think this is something we grew up with, is like way back when, like, yeah, like taking care of ourselves is selfish, and like spending too much time on yourself is not good, and da da da. Like I think that's something that we were raised with.
yeah,
And so really kind of looking at that and challenging that and being like, no, I want to be the role model. You know how many people are crashing and burning because they're people pleasing and they don't take care of themselves, and they
yeah,
have burnout syndrome and whatever else, because
mm,
they've never learned when they were little, right? How
yeah,
to set those boundaries, how to say no, and how to really, what does it look like to take good care of yourself? And I think
yeah,
that's where it comes in, where we as parents set good examples, right? Like, okay, what does it mean? Okay, I'm going to step away. I'm eating more healthy. I don't know, go for a walk, maybe by myself. And I do have some time for myself. And I don't know, journal or whatever it is that, makes
yeah,
you a more healthy and complete person, right? It looks different for everybody else.
yeah,
But really, I think it's so, so critical that we teach that, right? It's not important that we spend every single second with our child. It's not quantity, it is quality time.
yeah,
And like if you're like, let's like, if you're a mess and you're just like heaving all these burdens onto your child, then that's not really helping them, right? But if you take the time away and you can figure some things out and you can make yourself feel better, and then really maybe have less time, but it's
mm,
really good interaction, it's really quality time, you're really interconnecting, then
mm,
that is everything.
yeah, 100%. Totally agree with you. And it's an awesome feeling too.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, yes. And she understands that too. And I mean, that's part of it too. I want to give her the thing of like, you can do it. Okay. Like I was raised, like it was still like, oh, you are either a mom or you go with your job kind of thing. Right. And then of course there was a whole bunch in between where people are like struggling, and like some people look like it seems to work much better, and some people are
Mm,
really, and these days people are really getting the hang of how it might look like to balance all these things, and that you don't just have to choose and it's not one or the other and stuff. And maybe you can't have it all at the same time, but you
yeah,
can have it all, maybe in little steps and a
yeah,
little bit, spaced out. But I think we're all better for it. We really are
yeah,
better for it.
yeah. I agree. Completely agree.
That's so good. Ah, yes, making it simple too. I think it's helpful for our little munchkins too,
Mm,
to
yeah,
see and help them see us struggling too. It's good.
mm,
Like I really try to incorporate my little munchkin
yeah,
in things too, because I know I wasn't raised like that, and I see her little mind going so, like, she is so absorbent. She's, I mean,
Mhm.
you hear it all the time. They're little sponges, right? But it's
Yeah.
so incredible to really see the magic happening, unfolding
Mm.
in front of you, right? And like, I don't know, like people are sometimes stunned when she's like standing there and she's like frustrated. She's trying to do the monkey bars right now. And
Yeah.
she's like,
Mhm.
like she's falling down after a few things. And then she's there and she's like, and then she's like, okay, Sophie, take a deep breath. You've got this. And she goes back up there, and, and she tries again. And then she's like,
Yeah.
oh, and she fell down again. It's like, no, Sophie, you've got this. You just need to try again. You're going to get stronger. You're working your muscles and stuff, I'm
Yeah.
like, so I love it. I love
And it's
this.
great lessons, isn't it? It really is. Yeah, sometimes it just takes that perseverance, and then it's the resilience of rebounding. And we definitely lose that as we get older as well, because we start caring more about what other people think and say as well. But it is awesome. And we do the same with like dinner tables. We'll talk about the good and the not so good things as well. That, life isn't always perfect and everything you hope it's going to be or plan for it to be or whatever. You have to go through that as well. So yeah, it's awesome. It really is. And it's fun to watch because we've got two, a 10-year-old daughter and a 5-year-old son, of just how different they are and their minds are, and how you can make a comment and one will interpret it one way and another sees it a totally different way, and the fun you can have with that as well. So yeah, it's awesome. It really is. But it's awesome to be there for it and be happy for it as well, not just be sat at the dinner table, but in your mind it's like, oh, I've got work tomorrow, it's not going well, oh, I don't feel great about this, of this sucks, all of that type of stuff. So that's what makes the huge difference.
Oh, true. Yes, yes. Yeah, I think that's something too. Like it really opened my heart, like all this gratefulness, right? Like really appreciating those moments, the time that I do have with her, and like really noticing, like, yeah, that she can be my teacher too. I don't have to
Yeah.
just listen to her, but she can be my teacher too. And it, like you said, we lose so many things. We lose this adventurous, this I'm just gonna try it. I'm not worried that I might be tired later and that I'm using
Yeah.
all my energy to figure this one thing out right,
Yeah.
out right now. Or like, oh, I just want to jump in that freaking puddle. It looks amazing. I don't care that I'm gonna look like crap after. It's gonna
Yep.
be awesome, and
Yep.
just kind of get like I really try to incorporate that back into my life, like give her the space that I'm like, okay, we don't have to go anywhere after this. Let's jump in muddy puddles. Let's do it. Let's do it together. Let's have some fun,
Yep.
because like you said, we lose some of that innocence, some of that. Let's just go and enjoy freaking life. It doesn't
Yep.
matter if we're dirty. That's what washing machines are for. Or, oh my gosh, we're gonna be
Exactly.
like pooped because we ran on the beach, or we had 15 races and just instead of just that one, or
Mm.
we were chasing butterflies, whatever. I mean, it's just I really, really love those moments. I really cherish those the most, where I can really be so present with her, right? And just kind of follow her lead and just kind of go with the flow. And like I said, learn something, just kind of be open for that, because it's magic.
Yep.
It's pure magic. And yes, we've lost it along the way, but that's I think one of the reasons why we have kids. If you listen in and you get that reconnection, that
Capture.
spark.
Yeah. Yeah, I
Ah,
totally agree. Absolutely.
awesome. Oh, thank you so much for having the time. I think our time is
Thank
right
you.
about.
Thanks for
Oh,
having me on. It's been great chatting to you and just talking, and yeah, it's just been awesome. So thank you.
yes, I think we shared some really golden nuggets here. I love
I
it.
hope so.
Yes. Well, what or where can people reach out to you if they want to connect with you? What would be the best way?
Sure. So I'd probably say my website's the best way, and I kept that simple too. It is my name. So it's www.danquinlan.com. And there's a free resource in there as well that will help you with how to identify what it is you care about to set the goals and get to the transformation that you want to have. And I smile with it when people say, what's your website? I'm like, it's my name. And some people are like, why? And I'm like, well, if I named my website what my coaching or purpose was, and then I changed that, totally, my website makes no sense. Whereas if you keep it your name, that's not going to change. So yeah, easy to remember. So www.danquinlan.com. So loads of resources there that can help you. But say there's the free one that can definitely get you started.
Yes, yes, I love that. We'll definitely put it in the show notes.
Cool.
So
Thank you.
that's it. Thank you again for for taking the time to speak with us. I really loved our conversation.
Me too. Thank you.